Okay. So the recording has begun. We're here for a therapeutic yoga class, 60 minutes, and we'll take our times and move into relaxation today. That's what's going around the room. So hopefully those of you who are watching this are also feeling into this as well. So we're going to begin on our backs, hugging the knees into our chest. We're going to right away just go into some rocking stuff, and then we'll move from there. So get yourself comfortable onto your back. Create some space for the knees to come towards the chest, allowing the arms to wrap around the legs, whether that's the front of the legs or the backs of the legs. And just start to shift your body weight side to side, relatively steady in the head and neck. Just letting the knees stay together or create some space between the knees. If you're not sure, you can experiment with both and see what feels best for you today. Knees close or knees apart. Once you allow yourself to just create this gentle lapping movement side to side, allow yourself to become aware of any areas in your body today that are feeling out of the ordinary for you. Something that's unique to this day about your body. And as you rock side to side, does that unique area or sensation change, stay the same, or soften or shift, morph into something else? Or maybe nothing happens. It's just still there, it's present. Coming back to center and starting to shift both of your feet onto the ground. Take your time. Separating the knees and separating the feet. So create this space between your hip bones, allowing yourself to envision that you would be standing wider than your hips if you were standing up. And so letting the feet come out a bit, the knees tracking over the ankles and the toes. We'll just allow ourselves to come towards our breath, stepping towards it. And just allow yourself to listen to your breathing. Just tuning into your breathing. Just seeing what it is that you observe as you step towards your breath. If there's something that right away you notice about your breathing, and this is not necessarily a judgment, but rather objectively, what do you notice about your breathing? We can think about our breathing in a mechanical sense. Where can we feel our breath moving towards in our body? We can observe that we inhale or exhale longer or shorter in comparison to one another. We can observe or feel the sensation of our breath on the upper lip. We can feel temperature. So there's so many ways to objectively note your breath. So if you wish to get a better reading, you could place your hands somewhere along your body and then start to shift the knees so that the knees come together and the feet stay wide as they were. And notice any shift that's brought to your particular area for you today. Whatever you noted at the beginning of our practice. We'll begin to practice a particular breathing pattern. So in this particular breathing pattern, I'm going to ask you to have a visual. And this visual is going to be that as you inhale, you're inhaling more clarity or more air literally through the left nostril. And as you breathe out, I want you to envision the right nostril being a bit more strong in its ability to push the air out of your body. And just continue with this possibility to imagine the left nostril taking in air much more clearly, much easier, and breathing out through the right nostril as if the right nostril is more strong, is more clear on the way out. And as you do this, you might get so deep into the practice that it might even feel like you're only breathing through the left nostril as you breathe in, or only breathing out through the right nostril. Where you start to discern the strength or the clarity in each nostril and compare and contrast. So just continue to breathe in with clarity through the left nostril and breathe out with clarity through the right nostril. And then begin to imagine that breathing in through both of your nostrils is equally as balanced, and breathing out through both nostrils is balanced. Even if there's a physiological inability to breathe out through one nostril right now, it's just part of that imagination, holding that image, that visualization for yourself. And practicing as if that could be true. Balancing the qualities of the sun and the moon within. We'll let ourselves come back to more tactile practice by starting to move again, and we'll shift our movement so that our knees and hips go side to side. If there's any discomfort in holding this movement pattern, performing a movement pattern, you can come back to knees towards the chest. Or if there's another pose or posture that you enjoy doing that's within your capacity today, you're free to move towards that. Starting to shift back towards the center, separating the knees a little bit and walking the heels closer to the glutes. Let's hug just the left knee into the chest. Bringing the knee towards you, anchoring the shoulders, anchoring the spine, and it might require some adjusting so that you feel nice and long extension through your back. You can focus here on feeling the sensation of your spine drop into the ground. Just feel the holding, the supporting, the nurturing below your body. Allowing the shoulders through each cycle of breath to release and relax into the ground, not needing to be tight or sore, relinquishing control of holding all of our tension or tightness in our shoulders, neck, and jaw today. And if that's where we found ourselves at some point in our day, being compassionate and allowing it to release now. If it's comfortable, start to extend your right leg fully to the end of your space. As you do so, you might feel a light drawing towards the sacrum, and create a little bit more of a curve through the spine. Allow the right hip to be heavy. That may not mean that the back of your right knee comes in contact with the ground. You're welcome to have a lift here. And at the same time, a heaviness into the fully extended leg. Let's start to shift the left foot flat onto the ground. Take your time. You can use your hands to help navigate your foot there. And then we're going to come into tree pose on our spine. So you can start to shift your foot, so the inner foot, up against the right leg, letting the left knee fall open to the side. You can arch your arms out wide, or you can reach your arms over your head a little bit, creating branches of a tree. If you're in the lifting arms variation, you can play around with bending the elbows so that you might help to support the shoulder blades in a more comfortable manner. And expressing your tree in any way that feels comfortable to you. If you need support for the left hip and groin, you could grab a pillow or a blanket and set it under the thigh. You could also alternatively keep your left foot on the floor and just walk it a little bit wide to the side. And the knee just opens a slight bit towards the outer edge side of your practice space. So there's so many ways to do this. Finding a way that's accessible to you. So here in your tree pose, shifting your attention to the energy of tree pose, which is all about grounding, strength, and stability. And so we can look up to our neighbors, our dear friends, the trees in our local area, the trees in our parks, the trees in our forests, and the trees all around the world. And just feel into that pathway of stability, strength, and support. I invite you to picture that you could draw your strength and energy from the trees around you. Allow them to not only provide nutrients for what you eat and consume and enjoy with your eyes, but also energetically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, offering these qualities. You can start to unhinge the knee from its outward position, bringing the left foot firmly onto the ground. And then, if it's comfortable, extend your left leg fully. and pause here. If you need to adjust your arms, maybe you set them back down on your body. You could return to simply observing your breath. Letting yourself observe your breath non-judgmentally, watching its gentleness, its grace, its capacity to literally keep you alive. The life force within. If and when you're ready, come back to hugging the knees to the chest. You could journey there slowly by setting up your feet and then bringing one knee at a time. Squeezing the knees towards you. If it's comfortable, just pick your head up a couple inches away from the ground and then slowly return your head and just feel your head reset and maybe be a little bit more comfortable than it was the first time around. Settling in, rocking side to side. Coming back to center and setting the left foot down. Continuing to hug the right knee. Maybe feeling into your spine more deeply in connection with the ground. Letting your breath drop into your lower back and the back of your abdomen. Notice any patterns of holding, tension. Allow things to flow as if we're moving a couple of rocks in the middle of a riverway. Just creating more fluid movement, or simply creating that pathway that's available. And if you feel willing, you can explore an extended version of the left leg at this point. Allowing the left leg to extend in a way that feels easeful. Moving away from forceful or pushing or active. Moving towards heavy, moving with gravity. We'll begin to journey towards tree pose. Take your time in letting the right foot descend. You can use your hands to support it to get there. And then you can find a couple of variations. One can be keeping the foot flat, but simply walking the foot wider towards the right. And there might be a slight opening through the hip here. Or you could take the foot and set it anywhere along the length of your left leg. You could also do this with the support of a blanket, a pillow, bolster, a block under the thigh or under the knee. You can play with the arm position, maybe coming into an elbows bent position, fingers reaching above or just parallel to the head, out to the side. You can imagine what it would be like to do this standing on your left leg in a more balancing pose version, and what you would do with your hands if you were standing, and see if you could create that. And if you create that and it's not comfortable on your back, you can just morph it and shape it into something slightly different. But whatever variation you've chosen and allowing yourself to settle into, come back to that image of the tree. And this time, threading in our breath as being part of that visualization. The visualization being that each time we breathe in, we can picture our body, the trees within and the trees outside, oxygenating, taking in breath. And as we exhale, converting energy and letting go of the byproducts and letting that turn into compost outside of us. So everything is regenerated, everything is used again and again. So your breath not only serves you, but serves the beautiful trees around you. Letting yourself breathe in and breathe out. Feel your energy shift as you might begin to feel in relation to the world around you in a more profound or deep way. Honor whatever shows up. If you're still in the shape of tree pose, you can start to unravel the shape, shifting the foot firmly onto the ground, and then finding some extension of the leg. Resetting the arms as you wish, maybe resting on the body. Then we'll start to point the toes and reach the arms overhead and just take a big stretch here. going to come to roll over on our right side. And you're going to actually roll so that your knees are bent and you're resting on your right arm. Left palm just underneath you. Once you've found a comfortable version for your body, you're going to take the left arm and arch it up to the sky. And we're just going to start to explore some circular movement patterns. As if you have a crayon in your fingers and you're just tracing these circles or oblong shapes. And just thinking of the circling and the shifting from an entire arm perspective, not just from the wrist to the fingers. Feeling this whole circling go on through the entire length of the arm. You can start to heighten your circles or make them taller so that your arm sweeps close to your ear and it sweeps close to the hips. Might even sweep forward and a little bit back. If this feels too activating in the hips or the groin area, just create smaller circles. Travel the smaller way. So from the left side, we're going to set down the left fingertips in front of us. So just like a little prong. And then try to circle your shoulder joint in front of you without lifting the fingers. You can think about trying to floss in between the shoulder blades. How would you get floss in between there? You would have to pry open just enough, create some space between the sockets. Great. And after flossing, we'll flatten the palm. Use the palm to push into the ground and start to elevate your upper body. You can keep your knees stacked or slightly misaligned. Walking the hands a bit closer to the body so you can start to twist away from the legs. You can gaze ahead of you and tilting the head over the neck and shoulders. Or you could experiment with tilting your gaze down at the space in between your hands. And then with the weight bearing into our right hand, take your left arm and extend it forward. As you begin to take your arm up over your head, also start to pivot towards your legs with your upper body. So feel that pivoting and just let your fingertips come near the ground or wherever they're going to land. Reach them back up. And at the same time, start to pivot towards the front. You can let your fingertips touch the ground. And we'll do this 2 more times. Just reach through as the arm goes over, parallel to the head, up to the sky. You just begin to turn, fingers connect. Take the arm up. steady with the legs, the hips. There might be a little bit of movement, but most mobile through the upper body, the ribs. One more time. Take your time, shifting your gaze, shifting your head a little bit. Pivoting from the hips. Nice. So from here, let yourself come down so that you can let yourself roll onto your back again. So you might have to get right down into the original position, resting on your arm, and then very gently shift your legs, shift your head, and adjust to get back to your comfortable place. Let yourself pause. Let yourself notice any shift around your body as you just let yourself be in this time to settle. You can choose to rest your hands wherever they're comfortable. Belly, ribs, extended on your practice space. Whatever you're feeling called to. Bring the knees together, the feet apart, and go back into our windshield wiping side to side. As you windshield wipe side to side with your knees and hips, explore windshield wiping with the head. Rotating your head side to side, feeling the neck and throat shift. Letting yourself move slowly. Noticing clenching of the teeth and offering some space between the teeth, or even a slack jaw so the mouth might be a bit open. So the next time your knees go to the left, you're gonna let your feet come near each other, and we're gonna roll onto our left side, just the way we did on the other side. So extending your left arm so that your left ear can rest on it. I'm just gonna turn around so that I'm facing forward. We'll take the right arm, arch it up to the sky, and start to draw circles onto the ceiling. You can go really slow. The wider your circles, the more shifting or the more mechanics going on around the belly, the hips, and the ribs. So if that's something you'd like to explore, you can definitely create wider circles, or you can stay in that more steady, still circle space as well. And just remembering to use your entire arm to find the circling. You don't have to just work from the wrist and the fingers. You can really work from the whole length of your arm here. You can start to explore taller circles so that the hand travels near the hips, the hand travels near the head, and just see what's available to you, not pushing past your point of discomfort, especially if there's pain there, or there's a sense of having to hold your breath there. That can be an indication of your challenge and where maybe not to go today, but rather where to stay, where to explore. Create that container of exploration that is safe, comfortable, and easeful. So we'll take the fingers onto the ground in front of you, in front of your face. Tips of the fingers like a little claw, and then try to floss in between the shoulders while you keep the fingers steady on the ground. As if there could be like a mini hula hoop that would fit around the scapula, could fit around the ball, the socket, and you could just twirl it around, just loosening any tension, any brittleness around that space. Like an itch you can't scratch, but you're trying your best to create that opportunity to scratch it. All right, we'll bring it back to center. We'll flatten our palm and start to push into the ground with our hand so that we can slowly begin to elevate on both hands. The knees staying relatively together, pushing the hands a little bit closer to the chest so both of your palms can stay flat, and then actively twisting away from your legs. You can play with where it's comfortable to bring your head, maybe on top of the neck or the shoulders. Maybe it's looking down. You can focus on the act of extension in the left side of your body. So really growing from the left side, because the left hip and the right hip is stationary. As you sit up in this way, you're just creating some distance, some resistance by keeping the hips stable. Then we'll take the right fingertips and face them forward, bring them at eye level, reaching forward. As you start to take your arm over to reach to the sky, begin to turn gently to face your hips and see if you can touch your fingers to the ground or wherever they reach. Reaching up in the same way and pivoting the body, turning towards the left hand, touching down the ground, your fingers. 2 more times, reaching through. Let your whole body as a unit from the hips find that turning movement. From the hips to the crown of the head. One more time. Coming back around. extending the palm, and shift onto both of your knees. I'm going to bring the big toes together. You can separate the knees as wide as you like or as close as you like. Sit back to child's pose, reaching your arms forward and resting your forehead onto the ground. If this is not a comfortable position, you can find another pose. Where we're going to go from this is going to be laying flat on our belly with our legs extended behind us. So if you think that would be a comfortable alternative, you can go there early, and we'll get there in a minute or so. So from your child's pose, start to lift your head, walk your hands forward, and come onto your forearms. Take your time to extend one leg back at a time. Resting the length of your thighs, fully extended on the ground. Forearms are flat. Head is above the neck. Just sitting perched above the neck here. Relaxing the shoulders without forcing them or pushing them with a lot of effort away from the ears. Let's create that space. At the same time, stretching the lower back. Start to shift your gaze down to the space in between your forearms. Take both of your fingers, both of your hands, and push into the tips of your fingers, just hovering above the ground. And just create some shoulder circles here. If you wish, you can also do this from your forehead. And just creating like these grasshopper arms. At the same time, see if you can try to relax your glutes, but maybe pressing actively through the tops of the feet. So a little bit of a game of holding yourself up and really rolling through the shoulders. Noticing any tense spots here. Okay, you can relax that, shift your forehead onto the ground. Unclench your glutes if they are. Take your arms, reach them all the way in front of you until your arms are fully extended. When your arms are fully extended, press again onto the tips of all of your fingers. Start to lift your head and see if you can gaze in between your hands and just stretch. At the same time, actively push your hip bones into the ground and try to almost pull your chest away from the ground. Press the tops of the feet into the ground. Lift the kneecaps off. Great. Relax your kneecaps. Take your hands under your shoulders one at a time. Push the ground away from you, and we'll come back to child's pose again. Find a variation that works for you. A more restorative version for the shoulders is to take the arms behind you. Letting yourself come up close to observing your breath again. Simply noticing with a non-judgmental mind and body towards what you're feeling and what you're seeing in your breath. From your child's pose, if and when you're ready, come up. Take your time to find a seated pose of your choice. So you can sit in hero pose if that's comfortable. You could sit with legs extended. You could sit in easy pose, cross-legged. Whatever works with whatever support you have around you. Letting your attention move towards your sense of connection to the ground in a physical way. Just feeling that physical pressure and weight. Giving ourselves a gentle nudge or reminder that strength, clarity, resiliency is always within our reach. If we look to the trees, if we look to the earth, every minute, every hour, every day, every cycle, despite all of the uncertainty, there is some certainty here. Bringing your practice to a close in a way that best suits you and in this moment. Maybe you offer hands together towards the heart. Maybe you thank yourself. Maybe you thank others. Whatever it is that comes to you naturally right now. For me, I'd like to thank those who've come before me, those who will come after me, the teachers from above and teachers from below. The light in me acknowledges the light in you. Namaste. I'm going to go ahead and end the recording. And you're free to debrief if you wish with me or head out on your way as well.